All right, before we get the show started, I have to give a huge shout out to a special group of individuals that I like to call my Patreon podcast producers. And you know what? They're all on Instagram, so make sure you give them a follow. Daryl at Your Level Fitness, Kaitlyn at Kaitlyn Elise, put 3 Y's in her name, Crystal at Reduced Fat Mama, Joey at Joey Losing Weight, Vanessa at Vanessa Ray's Journey, and Amanda at Mutts_and_miles. These guys are helping this show to move forward in a huge, huge way. And if you want to join this special group of individuals, make sure you stay tuned at the very end of the show for more details. Are you Team Apple? I got to shout out all of you checking out this show right now on an iPhone, iPad, etc. In fact, nearly 70% of you are listening to me on one of these devices. It would mean the world to me if you took a moment to leave a review. This is one of the best things that you can do for this podcast to help get the word out. And while you're at it, leave reviews for some of your other favorite shows. I bet they would really dig it. First time Skype and first time podcast?
Yes.
Wow. How does that feel?
Oh, I'm a nervous wreck. You have no idea.
Oh, man. Don't be nervous. Don't be nervous. Look, I know it sounds very daunting. And as you've heard many podcasts before, we just get right into it. But I know it can sound kind of daunting, but it's like, there's going to come a time where I'm going to say, do you realize we've been on here for nearly an hour? And you're going to be like, what? And it's going to be just so it's going to be such a smooth conversation from here on out. So I can say
awesome.
That put your nerves at ease. We're going to have a good time today.
Awesome. Sounds good.
How did we get connected on Instagram anyway?
I think I was searching for like a hashtag. I don't even remember what one it was now. And you popped up there. And I had no idea who you were or your story, but like a picture popped up and it just kind of just spoke to me. And I was like, I've got to say good job to that guy. And
right.
Just kind of went from there.
Well, thank you. And let this be a lesson, ladies and gentlemen that are listening. Put in your hashtags. They will help you find new friends. And now Amy and I were friends. See?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And I found so many folks just from following you and listening to the podcast. It's just really opened up my friend base on Instagram.
I'm glad to hear. That's one of the reasons why I like to do these. For me, it's super important to bring different people on, different perspectives, different journeys, because everybody's story is super unique, and you never know who you're going to help. But then the cool thing about it is that other people download these podcasts and are like, oh, who's this? And then they look you up on Instagram, and then people start talking, and then next thing you know, you've got a whole new group of friends.
Yep, absolutely.
That's why I do it. And I like to get on the call with people because, I've always been an introverted kind of guy. So this is something that I never thought I'd ever do. And now I just get on the phone with strangers and we become not strangers.
Oh yeah. I can totally relate to the introverted. Every time I post something on my story, like a video,
yeah,
I'm like, is anybody going to watch this? Is anybody going to care? Like,
how did you build up to that? Because I know that can be very daunting for a lot of people, like, putting yourself a video. Like there are people that'll do stories, but then there's people that are, kind of reluctant to actually talk, in front of the camera. Sometimes they'll talk behind the camera. How do you open up to something like that?
Well, I had been following a couple folks on Instagram and they were pretty much exclusively with stories. And it was just, like they would talk about anything and everything. And I found like I was interested in that, even though it might be like, they're mundane, whatever, they're on their way to work, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, if I'm interested in that, maybe other people are interested in what I'm doing and what I'm up to. And so it just kind of started from that.
Yeah. Yeah. And after a while, I think you find that it just gets easier and easier.
Yeah.
Becomes an extension of your day.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel odd today because I haven't posted anything on my story other than my daily weight tracker. So I got to get on it.
And how is the day going for you so far? Everything good?
Yeah, everything's good. I worked earlier today, and now just gonna head to the gym after this, and that's gonna be my day.
Very cool. Very cool. And I think you mentioned before you're in Pittsburgh. You grew up there all your life, or?
Oh yeah, been here forever. I can't imagine living anywhere else. So I tell my husband I want to retire to South Carolina. So
Oh, so you
we'll
too,
see how
huh?
that goes. Yeah.
What part of South Carolina?
Pretty much anywhere I can get near a beach. I told him that was the plan. That was the dream, to be retired on a beach somewhere.
There you go. There you go. Where have you been down there that you like in particular? Anywhere in particular?
We do Myrtle most often. So maybe there. I don't know.
Have you done Charleston at all?
I have not been to Charleston, no.
Okay. Well, I don't know. Everybody's different. Like, I like to go to Myrtle because I like the vibe. I like, it's more the touristy type town. You have the lights, you have all the stuff going on. But then there's times where maybe you just want to like chill and relax and you don't want all that. So about 2 hours south, just outside of Charleston, there's a beach called the Isle of Palms. And I find that to be a much more relaxed area that, people know about it. It's not like this unspoken of like secret, but it's very like laid back, and it's not really like super touristy. If you were down in that area and you wanted that touristy vibe, you might go down to like Folly Beach or something like that. But Isle of Palms is pretty relaxed.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out next vacation.
Definitely. So you've been in Pittsburgh all your life, born, raised, all that good stuff.
Yep.
What is it like? I've never been to Pittsburgh. I've been to Philadelphia, and Philadelphia is probably the only place in Pennsylvania like I've ever actually been. I've driven past, 95 or whatever, but never been to Pittsburgh.
There's a ton of stuff to do here. Like, it's almost overwhelming because there's so much like art things to do, and we've got the rivers, so there's always something going on. Down at the park there, and it's just, it's almost too big and too overwhelming. There's just too much to do.
How's the traffic in Pittsburgh?
Some of the roads are bad, but I've been on much worse. We were in New York, New Jersey for Mania.
Yeah.
This past April.
Oh, you were at WrestleMania?
Yes.
I was there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was our first one. It was one of those bucket list trips.
Now, are you actually a fan, or did you go for the husband?
Oh no, I watch.
Oh, cool. This is we're gonna get along very well.
Yeah.
Well,
I always say I'm a closet wrestling fan. I don't share that with everybody.
Well, you just shared it with like a few thousand people, so no big deal, right?
Oh yeah, no, just a couple thousand people. Everyone will just keep my secret, right?
Yeah, no, and I would recommend, if you want to check it out, or anybody else who wants to check it out. I did a vlog every day that I was there. I did for like 5 or 6 days straight. Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, we were there for a long time.
Yeah, it was crazy. Did you get stuck in all that madness trying to get out of there?
No, our hotel was literally like 10 minutes away because we actually stayed in New Jersey.
Yeah, same.
There was a little back road that we were able to take right from the stadium back to the hotel. We sat in almost nothing.
Oh,
it was awesome.
That's awesome. So you actually parked in the parking lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, same here. We stayed in, my buddy and I stayed in Newark just because we knew that like they had the the New Jersey Transit, which went into New York, because I felt like a lot of the events that we did were in New York proper, and so we're like if we stay in Newark, like we know there's trains that have to come here, to go into the city. So we found a hotel like right at the airport, which was proved to be great because you have the transportation hub and all that, and getting in and out of New York was fairly simple.
Oh yeah, we drove everywhere, and it was so expensive, just the tolls and the parking, because just about everything we did was in the city.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was very expensive in that regard.
It is. It was a lot of fun though that week. Every time I go, it's always a lot of fun.
Oh, it was amazing. And it's going to be in Florida, and my mother-in-law is like 15 minutes from where it is next year. So we're going next year too.
I'm considering it. I'll have to see, because I got to do the Flying Pig next year. A bunch of us on the gram are getting together it's May, the first weekend in May in Cincinnati. Yeah. So I think that is going to most likely take precedence over WrestleMania unless I can make a miracle happen. Hardworkalwayswins.com, ladies and gentlemen. Pick up your shirts.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to it either way. I think it'll be fun. And do you watch have you heard of this new startup, this AEW, or how are you aware of that?
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, we watch that.
Yeah, they're coming to Washington for their first show. I just got tickets. I'm pretty pumped.
Oh wow. Yeah, no, we were trying to figure out where, if and when they came to Pittsburgh, where they would be, coming, like as far as what size of arena or whatever that they would be able to sell. But there's plenty here, so I'm sure they'll find something.
Yeah, they just announced today Philly and Boston, or actually Boston then Philly, rather. I should be correct on that. So they're gonna be making their way around. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, we'll definitely see them when they come here.
Yeah, definitely have to check it out. I'm excited because every time I watch one of their shows, it's just crazy. I mean, just the fan reaction and the engagement, the connection they have with their crowd. I mean, it's unlike anything I've seen in many, many years. Yeah,
well, I feel like it's, because of who's in it, and, they're really focused on, what the fans are into and what the fans want.
Yes.
And, they're so involved in their own creative. It's not somebody else, pulling the strings, that, I think it goes over better.
Yeah. They don't have a 75-year-old grandpa man to please.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah.
So I'm definitely excited. Well, that's cool. I was not expecting that. Wrestling fan, like South Carolina. Like I think we're hitting it off very well here, Amy.
Yep.
We're going to do just fine.
Oh, good.
Tell me about your beginnings. I mean, obviously we all have a path that starts somewhere, as far as, the road to kind of the unhealthy spot. That's kind of how the journey starts. People think the journey starts when you want to start losing weight, but it really starts as you're going up and gaining and all that. And when was that an issue? When did that become apparent to you?
Oh, it was always an issue for me. Like I was a big kid growing up.
Yeah.
My parents didn't, for lack of a better way of saying it, I don't think they really knew any better.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like nutrition and things, and they both worked full-time jobs, so there was a lot of times where I was kind of fending for myself, and they weren't making the healthiest choices. Both of my parents are still big, so I kind of developed those habits from them, and then just kind of carried that on into my life.
Yeah, it's never easy, especially if that's the situation you were in. I know it was kind of the opposite for me, where it's like my mother kind of tried to keep me on that straight line, and then once I got out of her care and it was on my own, that's when everything started going down, and it just get all messed up. And start tearing up the stuff. Funny thing about Pittsburgh, the one thing I remember about that, this is big Gary talking, the old Gary. I used to watch Man versus Food, and I remember they went through Pittsburgh, and y'all have these gigantic sandwiches, the Permane brothers, and that's how I always think about Pittsburgh. You ever go there?
Oh yes, they have several locations in Pittsburgh. One of them is like 5 minutes from my house.
No kidding.
Oh yeah.
Did they match the hype?
Oh, they're so good.
Yeah.
They're so good. There's something about having coleslaw and French fries on a sandwich that's just it's amazing.
I don't know. I may have to stay out of Pittsburgh now because I feel like that could be dangerous.
It really can be. It really can be.
I can only imagine. And so all through your childhood and teenage years, early adult and all that. So you're just kind of like what, on the steady upward kind of climb? Is that the situation?
Yeah. That was pretty much it. I was an only child, so I was a lonely child and a bored child. And so, I'm bored. Let's go to the kitchen. Let's see what's in there.
I'm glad somebody said it. I'm glad somebody said it because I'm an only child as well.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And, and boredom really leads to it. That's still the way it is for me. Yeah. I find I have really good days where I can control the snacking and the eating if I'm busy and involved, but you get me at home and I have nothing to do and I'm bored and it's all downhill from there.
Yeah. Everybody says, oh, you single children, you have it so easily and all that. It's like, I don't think so. Not so fast.
Nope, not really.
I can identify with the boredom. I just remember I used to tell my mother when I was a little kid, like, when are you going to bring me a brother or a sister or something? Because, I need something.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah. And we lived in an apartment, so there wasn't, I didn't have like a big yard or a bunch of kids around to go play. It was pretty boring growing up.
Yeah. Yeah. You maybe you find comfort in a little television and some snacks and all that stuff.
Yep. And that takes the place of going outside and, having friends and being active and just kind of repeat those patterns in my adult life. Yeah, no,
I hear you. And I think it also kind of leads a little bit to the introversion as well. Like, just being alone and kind of fending for yourself and that kind of, I think it plays into it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Any snack of choice back in those days?
Oh my gosh. No snacks that I can remember, but I know that my house, you would go there would never not be Pepsi. Like that was the thing to drink. I don't ever remember having water or bottled water or anything like that back when I was a kid. It was Pepsi. You're thirsty, Pepsi. You're hot, have a Pepsi. Like, yep.
So you were a Pepsi gal. I was a Coke guy. I hope we're not going to have a problem here.
Oh, no, not at all.
Things have been going so well. Actually, I'm not on any team. I'm team water now, but back in the day, it was Coke and a little bit of Dr. Pepper. My mother kind of got me on that. She used to drink those at work, and she gave one to me. And I remember it was just so far out of left field, but I just couldn't get enough of it. I loved it.
Yeah, I swore off soda April of 2018. So.
Nice. Was that a hard thing for you, or did you find it to come pretty easy?
At first it was, because my family is not really kind of along on this ride, this journey with me. So there's still soda in the house all the time. So it's always there, and it's just kind of, I had to just break myself of the habit, go cold turkey, and now I don't even miss it. I don't even care if it's there.
Yeah, it's a great feeling to have. I remember when I kind of broke free from it. I remember I have a refrigerator in my office at work, and I just filled that entire thing with nothing but water. I didn't give myself an option. And then once in a while I'd have like some sweet tea or something, just once in a while. Yeah. And, but I know what you mean when you say, like, you know, there's no really like support in terms of like, you know, in the house is all this junk. It's still apparent. Like, you know, I still deal with that today. And I think that we're responsible for our own choices, but at the same time, it can be hard when you like walk through your kitchen and all you see is just, you know, shelves of junk.
Yep. It's hard to say no. My husband and I will go grocery shopping, and I'll look at, you know, a bag of chips or a thing of Oreos, and I'll say, oh yeah, I could really go for that. And he'll go, oh, well, let's buy it. And I said, no, if we buy it, I'm going to eat it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not just going to have, you know, one or two. I'm going to house the whole package.
Oh yeah. That's how it goes. You know, that's the way, that's the way the cookie crumbles, as they say.
Oh, absolutely. That's the way the Oreo crumbles.
Yeah, exactly. Now is weight an issue for him, or is he just like this very slender built, attractive man? What's the deal?
Oh, no, weight's definitely an issue for him. And like he and I have talked about before trying to get him kind of on board with what I'm doing. And at this point, like I feel like he just needs to get there himself mentally. Yes. You know, I can't force him into it. I can't make him do it. I can just, you know, have, you know, the healthy options, you know, there and available. And, you know, if you want to eat it, great. If you want to go to the gym with me, great. But I'm not gonna, you know, force him into anything.
I think that's really key, because I know that before I got started, I was always in the position of people were, you know, trying to push it on me. You should do this, you should do that. And I'm sure you probably got a little bit of that too from different people, but it can be tough and it can be discouraging because people are trying to tell you, you got to do this, you got to do that. It's like, you know, you'll know when you're ready.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure that at some point as you're going up, and if you don't mind me asking, what did you top out at? Like, what was your highest point?
The highest I ever weighed myself, I was 278, but I know I got higher than that. I was probably almost 300 at one point.
Okay. So when you're at the 278 or slightly higher, I can almost guarantee there was a point where you yourself, you probably had people tell you, probably had people in your ear, you know, kindly or unkindly or what have you, just saying stuff. And at some point you probably had a moment.
Yeah.
And what, you know, do you recall what that was that kind of turned the tide for you?
This is going to, I don't know. I think this is going to sound really weird or odd, but so my husband and I watch a lot of like magic shows on television.
Okay. No worries.
And there was one that, Penn and Teller were doing, and Penn was always a big guy. And then all of a sudden next season, he's this slim guy.
Yes.
And so I kind of looked into like, what did he do? Like, he was always a big guy. And I downloaded his audiobook, and in that book, he makes a reference or a point to say he never realized, you know, that he always thought he was just a big guy. He never realized he was fat.
Yeah.
And I heard that and I thought to myself, well, I always knew that I was bigger, but, you know, I've always been surrounded by, you know, really kind people. You know, nobody's ever really called me out on being fat. Like, sure. I'm fat. I'm unhealthy. And, you know, I heard him say that, and I kind of, you know, looked in the mirror and I was like, oh my God, that's me.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just kind of, you know, I just kind of started there and was like, that's it. I'm done living this fat, unhealthy life, being on all sorts of medications for blood pressure and, you know, acid reflux and all of that. Like, I'm done.
That acid reflux is real.
Mm-hmm.
That stuff is rough.
Yep.
I mean, it is really, really rough, and you get enough of it in you, and I mean, it'll wreck your night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I found that I fell into this hole before I realized that I had it. That I would eat something, I would get the reflux, and I would have this feeling in my stomach. I was like, oh, well, maybe if I eat something, that'll go away. And that was like the most backwards way of thinking. Like, my stomach hurts, let me eat more.
Yeah.
But I would do it, and then, just the act of eating something would calm it down for a little while, and then, it would just come back, kind of full force. But I was filling myself with junk, so that's.
Yeah, and it's not hard to do either. I mean, whether you're in a position where you're bored, like we talked about earlier, and you just feel like you want to eat, or maybe something has happened that just emotionally wrecks you. Because I mean, I can certainly identify with times where just life gets really hard, and food becomes the comfort. I'm sure that at some point maybe you've experienced something like that.
Oh, I absolutely have. I just posted on Instagram last weekend. I was having a really rough time at work, and I went right to the food. I went on lunch, and I had myself a bag of Skittles and a box of Milk Duds, and I just and that's stuff that, I might have a handful of this or that here or there, but
sure.
I just housed my way through both of them, because I was stressed out, and I wanted some instant comfort.
Oh yeah. I mean, and we won't find that comfort, or at least we think that we can't find that comfort anywhere else. It's got to come from some sort of a snack. Like, I know if I have a bad day, my go-to will be like a milkshake sometimes.
Yeah.
Lately I've tried to counteract that with, I'm like, well, God, if I'm going to sit here and eat a bunch of stuff, I'm going to have like some guacamole or something. Something's got like some vegetable in it or something, just something to combat the damn urge. I mean, cause it'll wreck your life, man. It'll drive you nuts.
Yep.
And what line of work are you in?
I'm a retail manager.
Oh, I know that's stressful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I used to work for a popular, drugstore chain, and I think the highest I ever got was a shift manager. So it's like 2 clicks below the store manager, and even that position was rough.
Oh yeah. It's definitely rough. I'm in charge of scheduling and customer service and training, and it's anytime you're dealing with the people and the public, and I mean, literally my whole job is just people skills day in and day out.
Yeah. It can be very trying. I remember, just anytime a customer issue would come around, you'd have to do whatever you could to make the situation right. The hours were never quite ideal. I remember calling my mother with an absolute breakdown because I just couldn't take the retail life anymore. They used to put me on like every single week. And even though I was like a very senior kind of person there, they still put me on like every weekend. I kind of gave myself the title of weekend bitch, I guess, and I had a breakdown. I called my mother. I said, Mom, cause she worked for a print shop, and they were always looking for people before they completely wrecked their entire business. And I said, are you guys looking for anybody? Cause at this point I'll take anything. And that was a Monday to Friday. And I'm glad I decided to go there. But the retail, it drove me up the freaking wall.
Oh yeah. Long hours, crazy hours. My schedule is constantly changing to accommodate this or that. It's like my schedule's like hitting a moving target.
Yeah. How long have you been in that job?
23 years.
Holy shit. Wow. Wow. Okay. I need to check the explicit tag for this podcast. There's my swear word for the day. Wow. That's a long time. I probably would have just completely drowned myself in ice cream or something by now.
Yeah. I started there when I was 17 years old.
Wow. And you just worked your way right up the same company, or you just kind of bounced around?
Nope. Same company.
Wow. Look at you go.
Yep.
But
look at me go.
You know what that shows though? That shows loyalty.
Oh yeah.
And that's hard to come by these days. Loyalty.
Oh yeah. And if it wasn't a good company, I wouldn't still be there, but the company takes care of, take care of its folks. And, I work for some great people, and I've worked for some great people over the years. So yeah, wouldn't still be there if I didn't love it and think I was good at it.
Now, being in a retail, do they quote unquote take care of you? I'm not going to outright ask what you make or whatever, but like, are you in a good spot?
Oh yeah.
Oh, good.
Oh yeah, not great, not amazing,
Sure.
but comfortable, and I feel like I'm fairly paid.
Right, you're not starving, in other words.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
no, I'm not starving.
I was gonna say, somebody with all your years of talent and experience, like if I'm you, I'm dumping all that knowledge into like an ebook that I'm gonna sell on Amazon for $20. I'm telling you right now, you could have a future in that.
Oh yeah. We've often talked about writing a book about some of our stories.
Yeah, you could certainly drop a ton of knowledge on people, I think. And here's how, here's an example of this situation, here's the right way to deal with it, here's the wrong way. And I mean that knowledge like that could be dropped on a podcast, and I'm sure Your Level Fitness, Daryl Perry, will be in your DMs begging you to start a podcast. You could be.
He's already in my DMs. So.
Yeah, Daryl's in everybody's DMs. He's a maniac, this Daryl.
Yeah.
But I mean, seriously though, you could, I mean, it is a podcast. It is a YouTube channel. It is a ebook that you could have. You could drop so much knowledge on people and probably triple what you make on the retail front.
Oh yeah. If only I could find the time away from my retail job to do all that.
Oh no, I hear you. It can be trying to find the time. I know the hours I work and how I do all this other stuff. I don't even know.
Oh yeah, I don't know how you do all you do with the podcasts and the vlogs and being all over Instagram. I have no idea how you get all that done.
I'll give you a secret. I'll give you and everybody else a secret. So in my room, I have two of these things. So one in my bedroom where I wake up every morning, I have a picture of the pineapple fountain in Charleston, and I see this pineapple fountain and it keeps me focused. And then when I go to work, I'm not supposed to have a different background on my computer, but I do anyway. And it's the same pineapple fountain just because I like the way it looks. But when I see this pineapple fountain, I think of Charleston, I think of South Carolina, and I think of my drive to get the hell out of here. And it just keeps me motivated, Amy. What can I say?
Oh, that's great. That's great. I'll have to find my fountain.
Find your fountain. And that's a good question. I'll pose that to everybody listening right now. What is your fountain? What is that? I'll steal a line from Daryl. Send me and send Amy a DM, or send us a group DM and tell us, what is your fountain? Boom. Yeah. There you go. So you see how that goes? Like we're talking about your health journey. We're talking about WrestleMania. Now we're talking about retail and creating ebooks and how you're a kick-ass retail manager. So we're all over the place. This is how this podcast works.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We're everywhere. You're in my whole life now.
Yes. Anything we have not covered yet.
I don't know.
So
I don't know.
You hear this book from Penn of Penn and Teller, which I love those guys. They had that show Bullshit that I just loved. It was I used to like that. Yeah, great show. And so you hear this book, or you read this book rather, and it changes everything for you. Yeah, it really did. It just made me kind of stop and think about, is this what I wanted, like the way that I want to live the rest of my life? Yeah. And, and no, I don't, there's things that I want to do, that I want to get out and be able to do. And, at almost 300 pounds, there's, things are limited, or if not limited, harder for you to do. 100%. Yeah. So like, when I was almost 300 pounds, there's no way that, I would be able to take my dog for a walk for an hour and a half. That would just not be able to happen. I just physically wouldn't have been able to do that.
Because not only was my eating bad, but obviously my fitness was non-existent.
Yes.
I didn't go to a gym for the first time until February of this year. So I just wanted to do so much more with my life. And I have a milestone birthday coming up in September.
Oh, yeah.
And, yeah. And so, I feel like I wasted so many years already that I don't want to waste the rest of them. So
no,
I had to kick myself in the butt and get to where I needed to be.
That's totally fair. I'm going to be, God, by the time this podcast comes out, I'll already have turned 37, but I'm inching closer. And I'm not one of those people, like, I don't freak out and say, oh my God, I'm near 40 or I'm going to be that much closer to 50. Like, the number itself doesn't bother me. But what does bother me, much like you said, is having that thought of feeling like you've wasted a lot of time in a world where, I mean, we don't know, like, nothing's guaranteed. Like, we don't know if we're going to wake up tomorrow. We don't know, you know, life is not guaranteed for the next day. And so when you think about that and you think about all these years that you wasted and not utilizing it to your full potential, I can't imagine waking up tomorrow or the next day without having like a purpose and trying to make more and try to make the most out of every day.
Yep. You said it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just not guaranteed. I mean, we've all lost loved ones before. Sometimes people that have gone a lot sooner than we thought, whether it be medical or accidents or suicides, whatever. I've seen it all. And you just, it could be very, very tough. And so you don't know that tomorrow is guaranteed at all, because it's not. And you think about just the time that we waste just doing just the stupidest stuff. And it's like, you know, I could have been doing something. So it's like, yeah, I could be laying on the couch right now, Netflixing and chilling, or I could be talking with Amy here on a podcast and creating something that is going to be released to a bunch of people that are going to listen to it. And at least one person is going to be touched by it. They're going to gain something from it. And that's how I know that it's, you know, my day is complete at that point.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, cause I'm going to be 40, I'll say it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of when, for both of my parents, I said, they're still around. They're both, bigger folks. That's kind of when, their health really started taking a downward turn. And I was already on blood pressure medications for years.
Yeah.
And, looking down the barrel of, oh my God, like, is this going to be the rest of my life? Like, I'm too young to feel this old.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. And at that point you can't imagine not, trying to make things better and try to make the most of it, get yourself in a good position, and just try your best. I mean, and you've clearly done that. I mean, you can see the pictures don't lie. Yep.
And not only the pictures, I've been off of all of my blood pressure medications since September of last year, which my doctor was just astounded by. He said I was the first patient he ever had that has been able to completely, just with diet and exercise, go off of their blood pressure medication.
That's incredible. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel amazing. And sometimes, I'll still I have one of those cups at home. I'll still take my blood pressure and be like, was it a dream? Am I still okay? Is my blood pressure still good? Did all of that just go away? And, I've been off of it since September of last year and still feeling good and going good.
That is so awesome. And I just wanted to highlight that for a moment. I just when you think about, being on a weight loss journey, a fitness journey, whatever you want to call it. There are so many people that get discouraged because maybe that little machine that you step on once a week or once a day, if you're insane, or once a month or whatever, if it doesn't always move the way you want, it's easy to get discouraged. It's easy to feel like I'm a failure. And then you just tell that story where you're off all this medication because of your journey up until this point. It's like, how in the world can you be, how in the world can you spin like a negative result on the scale to being a failure when you've accomplished all these, not, I don't mean you personally, but I just mean imaginary person in general. Like, how do you spin that into a negative?
Yeah. Yeah. And just knowing, kind of where I was and where my health was and where my health was going, I can't see myself going back, going backwards like that. I was on 2 different blood pressure medications. I wasn't even 35 years old.
Yeah.
Like where would I have been at, at 40, at 45, at 50? Would I still have even been around, at that point? So it's definitely a big motivator to kind of keep me going and keep me, on the right path.
Well, I can only imagine. I mean, that's such a huge win. I mean, and I've had a few people on here that have told their story about how they got off this medication or that medication. I mean, that's huge because, the doctors, a lot of times they want you to be on this stuff or they want you to do the surgeries, and there's nothing wrong with the surgeries. There's a lot of people that think that they're a shortcut and all this. And I don't believe that for the slightest, because those people do work, but there are,
you have to do whatever is right for you.
Exactly. But I mean, the doctors, because they want the money, that, it's like, take the pills, do the surgery, all that stuff. And here you are, just the kick-ass person that you are, is like, nope, I'm going to do this on my own. And now I'm off all my medication. That's pretty awesome.
Yep. Thank you.
Does not get any better than that.
Yeah, it feels pretty awesome.
I bet you wake up on your mornings feeling awesome.
Mostly.
Well, okay, let me rephrase that, because I know we all have our on days and our off days. Physically, you generally wake up feeling awesome.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, before I would wake up and I would be stiff and achy and I wouldn't want to get out of bed. Just the physical act of getting myself out of bed. That
was the worst.
It was the worst to start the day. And that was how I was starting the day.
Yeah.
Just kind of starting it off, on a negative from the very beginning. But now, I woke up the other morning thinking that it was Monday and it was Sunday. And I literally flew out of bed because I thought I was going to be late for an appointment.
Yeah.
And I could fly out of bed.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. It was, I guess.
I know that the old me would have stayed in that bed, turned on the television, and just probably hung out there for 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
Noon, 1 o'clock. No big deal. We're just going to chill here today. I actually did have a lazy day this past Sunday, and I didn't feel any bit of regret for it, because I've been going hard the last freaking couple of weeks here, like extra hard. So I didn't feel any guilt about that. But as far as the older me, I would have just done that every single weekend. No question.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Unless I needed to get off my ass and go get some food, because certainly weekends were planned around that.
Oh yeah. Tell me about it.
Did you have a place that you used to go that was a frequent of yours? Because I know, like I have people on the podcast like, Taco Bell, McDonald's, yada, yada, yada. Did you have any of those kind of things where there was like one place that was repetitive before you kind of got going?
Wow. I mean, I feel like we hit up all of them. Where I live, there's a stretch of everything. There's Wendy's, there's Arby's, there's Taco Bell, there's McDonald's, there's Chick-fil-A, there's Panda Express. There's literally everything, whatever kind of, fast food you want right now, there it is.
Yeah. And working retail, you're working crazy hours. So sometimes it's up to you to get your own meal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
How do you handle the bad days though? Cause we talked about it a little bit earlier. I said, I bet you wake up feeling awesome, and you're like, well, some days. And I think that a lot of us, here's the thing. I think like not enough people share the bad. They only share the good. And, we don't have to obviously get specific or anything like that, but just in speaking in generalities, like, if a bad day arises, like how do you handle that in relation to, your mental health and translating that into your physical health.
Yeah, well, I found that if I can get there, if I can get to the gym, it's so therapeutic for me to just be able to like just put my headphones on and kind of zone out from whatever's going on.
Sure.
And just, walk on the treadmill, run on the treadmill, and just kind of, be with my own thoughts.
Yeah.
It's such a stress reliever for me. If I can get there, that's a big thing for me.
And how does it work if you don't make it up there?
Oh, well then I'm just a mess.
Yeah. I can relate.
Yeah. Then I get too far in my own head, and
you're a failure. You're the worst. You're a piece of garbage. All those kind of self thoughts.
Oh yeah. They're all in there, and I battle every day to get those thoughts out of my head, because it's not doing anything. It's not doing anything for me other than making me, feel bad and feel less than.
Yeah. Yeah. And we'll never give ourselves enough credit for all the things that we do, because we'll always find that one wrong thing, or maybe we ate too much that day and we feel bloated, and suddenly we feel like we've gained 30 pounds back in a matter of an hour. And we just get right in our own way, and it can be devastating, because if your mental health is not correct, then you can't really expect everything else to be in a good spot.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things that being on Instagram and following so many different people and so many different people's journeys has really tried to. It's really kind of instilled in me that I don't need to be perfect. I don't have to have a great day every single day. Every single day does not have to be, the best day of my life, that I ate perfect and I worked out hard. If I have a bad day, it's okay, because everybody else does too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's key. I mean, just understanding that one bad day or even one bad week is not a derailment of everything.
Yeah.
Because getting up to that near 300, that certainly wasn't overnight. That was probably over the course of many years.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I look at where I am and where a lot of other folks are. And, some folks that I follow are just, kind of starting out on their journey, or have only been doing it, maybe a couple weeks or a couple months. And, I look at where they are, and I can relate to where they are from thinking back to that time period, but also knowing that, that I was there and I got here feeling those same ways that they felt. So, we're all on this same kind of journey. It may look a little different to everybody, but, we all have that same end game in mind.
Amen. I believe it. I mean, that's, that's key, and not scrolling through and getting caught up in, well, so-and-so lost 5 more pounds than I lost this week, and God, I feel terrible. Because that's a big problem, I think. I think a lot of folks, they get caught up in it, and it becomes like this game or this race, and that can just be so destructive.
Oh, absolutely. And it shouldn't be all about that number. It should be about, making the good choices and building on those things. And I found that for myself, I'm one of those crazy daily weigh-in folks.
I didn't mean to throw you under the bus.
It's okay. It's okay, but I have a good reason for it.
Fair enough. Hit me.
So I also journal everything that I eat. I don't really count the calories too much, but I'll write down everything that goes in my mouth. And then, I can look the next day or a couple of days and, see and look back and go, well, maybe those weren't the best choices, or maybe that was too large of a portion. And I can kind of see how different foods affect my body.
Right.
And what things are okay and what things are not, and what, kind of what can I add and subtract and do better with.
Fair enough. Hey, you're staying accountable to yourself. I can't fault you for that.
Yep.
I just think that if you're in that position, the most important thing is you're taking all this information, and that's exactly what it is. It's information. It's not, oh, well, this day really tanked and my God, I'm a biggest failure, or I really tanked on this day, so now I'm just going to change everything because one day didn't quite measure up.
Right. Absolutely.
So it sounds like you got the right mindset.
I'm working on it. A little bit of progress every day.
Yeah, that's right. One day at a time. It sounds so damn cliche, but man, is it accurate.
Yep, absolutely.
You mentioned earlier you go to the gym, you pop your headphones in. Now, besides the Gary Cantrell podcast, what else are you listening to while you're at the gym?
Oh my gosh, I listen to a little bit of everything. I listen to a little bit of country. I listen to a little bit of rap, some old rock, some 90s stuff. My playlist is so all over the place.
All right, give me a few examples that you've been. I'm sure you're probably like many others where you have a few go-tos, right? There's something you like to listen to, like, fairly routine. So give me. I'm a music guy. I love music. That's why I ask. What's some of the stuff you've been listening to lately?
Shania Twain's "Man, I Feel Like a Woman."
Oh yeah, it's a classic. Yep.
I love the beat of that. I've got several Christina Aguilera songs going through my playlist.
Genie in a Bottle was my jam, for the record.
Oh yeah, she actually grew up in Pittsburgh.
No kidding.
Yeah, just north of Pittsburgh, and she went to high school with my ex-husband.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I've got some of her. Oh my gosh, what else is on there? I have Vanilla Ice on my playlist, so don't make fun of that.
No, not at all. Hey, I was 9 and I went to Waxy Maxie's. It was an old CD and tape store. I don't know if they were out of Virginia or if they were like nationwide or what, but hey, I got good grades. And I got the Ice Ice Baby or the To the Extreme cassette tape. So I felt very accomplished about that.
Yeah. So my playlist really is kind of all over the place.
So you seem to cling a lot to the classics. You like the classic stuff.
Yeah, there's not a lot of newer stuff on my playlist. I think I have a couple like Katy Perry songs on. For me, when I'm working out, just whatever has a good beat and can keep me moving. I find the faster the beat, the faster I'm moving. So
can I give you one recommendation? Of course I have to do this because I'm a music guy.
Oh, of course.
Look up the album Hero by Maren Morris.
Okay.
It is legit. I love it.
Okay.
Are you what do you have, like a streaming service?
I listen on Spotify.
Okay, cool. I'll see if I can find like a link, and I'll link you in your DMs, and you can go check it out when you have time. But no, I recommend that because you mentioned like Shania Twain and all that, and I mean I don't think that they're very necessarily similar, but as far as like women in country right now, a lot of people go immediately like Carrie Underwood or Miranda Lambert or something like that. I go right to Maren Morris because I think that her voice is just a knockout stunner. It's natural. It's not a lot of process. Not that these other women are, but I've seen her live. I've seen her in sound check. I have it. That's all natural right there.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I'm interested to check her out now.
Yeah. And if you want the best male voice in country, I got to throw you to my guys, Dan and Shay, because those guys are Shay Mooney. He's the singer. Dan's the guitar player. He does some backing vocals, but Shay, he is the GOAT. I know that's like an emoji thrown around. The GOAT, the greatest of all time. Shay Mooney is a legend. I mean, this guy he's probably younger than you and I. In fact, I'm almost certain he is younger than both you and I. And this guy just saw him Saturday. and this guy can sing his heart out. I'm telling you what, the music for them, not all the stuff is super upbeat. There is quite a bit of it that is, but they have some more ballady type stuff. So maybe that's not really great for cardio, but I'll still throw it your way because I think it's a solid, strong choice.
Okay. I'll definitely check them out. I'm always interested to find, new songs and new things to kind of keep me motivated and keep me going.
Definitely. What right now, I mean, other than, hey, you got off all this medication, what else keeps you motivated? Cause I think that people sometimes I think they should make like a list of the things that really keep them motivated. What would be some things on that list for you?
Oh my gosh. As weird and this is going to sound, I think everybody's seeing the journey that I've been on.
Yes.
Like the people that I work with, my friends, I had lost a significant amount of weight, maybe 6 or 7 years ago, and then gained it all back. And, nobody ever called me on it, but I knew it happened, and I know they knew it happened, but they were all nice and nobody ever called me out on it.
Yeah.
But, just knowing that, everybody has, seen me do that and fail hard and come back and, really doing it the right way this time. And just those folks seeing me, like, I don't want to disappoint anybody, and I don't want to disappoint myself by, going back to those bad habits and that unhealthy lifestyle.
Well, you're unstoppable now.
Yeah.
Telling you right now, I can see what you've done here. Going over to your profile. I mean, I say, crushing it, but I don't know if that's the right word. I think you've done far more than that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've had folks, I can't even tell you how many now that hadn't seen me in years that don't even recognize me.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't understand that, it's still me. I think I still look like me. And, every couple of months it'll happen that I'll see somebody that I haven't seen in a long time. And I'll be like, hi, how are you? How have you been? And they're just looking at me like, and who are you, strange woman?
Well, I think you see yourself every day, so it's kind of hard. You see yourself like every single day. So you're just like, oh, I just look the same. That's just me.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's why I really like those, like Transformation Tuesday pics, because I can look at that and go, oh, wow. Like, yeah, I didn't think I had a problem back then, but man, I really did. And, that's motivating for me to keep going. I don't want to go back to that. I'm happy where I am now.
Yeah. I think you're only going forward from here on out.
I'm trying.
You got this. Trust me. So as we wrap up now, this is the part where I say, would you believe we've been on here for nearly an hour?
It's ridiculous. I can't even believe it.
Can you imagine?
I can't even believe the service to begin.
Yeah, right. I mean, look, you get on the phone with somebody, you never talk to them, and an hour later, it's just like we've been talking for years, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's been great.
There you go. Well, tell the people where they can find you on Instagram, because that's the most important part here. We want people to seek you out, check you out, say hello, and tell them where to go.
Oh yeah. So I'm at Zaytoon Style. It's Zaytoun Style.
Cool. Yeah, that's I was wondering how you pronounce that. Now that's the thought I had in my head.
Yeah, I always tell people it's like cartoon, but spelled differently.
Well, head over there, guys, to at Zaytoon Style, and hit her up. Tell her hello. Tell her she is awesome for crushing all of these goals, getting off that medication, losing all that weight, and just kicking ass in general. And maybe some people will be looking for that podcast and or ebook here coming up in the future.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Hey, maybe we'll be at WrestleMania next year. We'll say hello and you'll be like, yeah, remember when we talked about that ebook? I just sold like 10,000 of them, right? I mean, that could be a real thing. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that's how I'll pay for my trip down there next year.
You see? There you go.
Great.
Well, Amy, I hope you have an awesome workout, and I want to thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thanks, Gary. It's been great.
Remember at the beginning of the show, I mentioned a little thing called Patreon? Well, I'd love to have you join me. But Gary, what is Patreon? It's a website that is helping small creators like me raise funds to further expand their creative visions. For as low as $1 a month, you can help me further my dream of reaching as many people as possible and eventually taking the show on the road to meet all these fine people face to face and add a video element to this podcast. If you were to donate $4 a month, you'd be hearing the show a few days earlier with no commercials and getting access to my close friends group on Instagram. Donate $10 a month and you get all that plus your name right at the beginning of the show alongside other producers. But act fast. That tier is limited to 10 people. I've got a whole lot more to offer, and you can get all the details over at patreon.com/Gary Cantrell. If you made it this far, I really appreciate you. Thanks so much for checking out the show, and I'll talk to you again really soon. hardworkalwayswins.com. It's more than just a clothing line. It's my mantra. I speak it, I wear it, I live it, and I'd love to have you join the Hard Work Squad. We're constantly adding new items to the store, including our brand new Future-ish hats, which come in a variety of colors, including camo. I mean, who doesn't like camo? We also just put our famous Splash logo in gold to match our OG logo, and there's so much more here. You just got to check it out. Here's the best part. Use the code PODCAST at checkout to take 10% off of your very first order and join the Hard Work Squad today.